The war against ISIS isn't something for the history books. Not yet.
No, not at all.
It just moved underground.
Yeah.
It evolved, and when it burst back out violently, Western allies had to respond with absolute surgical power.
And that's our focus for this deep dive. We're looking at that very recent joint Anglo-French military action in Syria. This wasn't just a routine operation.
Oh.
We have intelligence that shows a really dramatic and frankly shocking resurgence of ISIS, what some are calling a catastrophic escalation. And that's what forced this incredibly precise strike near Palmyra.
Okay, so let's jump right into the event itself because it really defines the urgency here. We're talking about Saturday evening, January 3rd, 2026. The Royal Air Force, they use their top-of-the-line Typhoon FGR-4 fighter jets.
And they launched this coordinated, very high-stakes operation right alongside French Rafale jets.
But this wasn't some kind of broad area bombing campaign. The intelligence was specific, wasn't it?
Oh, incredibly specific. The target was a confirmed subterranean ISIS facility. So think a hardened, deep tunnel network dug into the mountainous region just north of Palmyra.
And its purpose.
Strategic. This complex was all about storing critical heavy weapons and huge caches of explosives.
And the mission, it just demanded a level of accuracy, that is.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to believe. The initial reports came back almost immediately, confirming the target was, and I'm quoting here, successfully engaged.
Right, but with the all-important follow-up, with absolutely zero civilian risk.
Zero civilian risk.
And that's the key. That assessment is everything. The area was confirmed, completely devoid of any civilian life. The coalition statement said it all, that this was about standing shoulder to shoulder with our allies to stamp out any resurgence of Daesh.
But to do that, to deny them these weapons without causing wider damage, they had to hit these tiny specific points on the earth.
Exactly. And that brings us to the technology that made it all possible.
Okay, let's unpack this hammer then, because the capability they used here is, I think, critical to understanding how the West has to manage these kinds of entrenched asymmetrical threats.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the RAF using Paveway IV laser-guided bombs.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going after something like an underground bunker system, why is this specific weapon the one you have to use?
It's really the ultimate tool of denial. It's this perfect balance of destructive power with just surgical accuracy. The Paveway IV is, it's a completely state-of-the-art munition.
Okay.
It weighs about 226 kilograms, so around 500 pounds. And while the unit cost is pretty high, something like 30,000 pounds per weapon, what you're buying with that is a capability that's, it's priceless when it comes to avoiding collateral damage.
And what are those specific capabilities we're talking about?
Okay, so first, its warhead is specifically designed for concrete penetration. That's crucial when you have to get through rock and, hardened surfaces above a tunnel.
Yeah.
But the feature that truly dictated this mission was its extreme precision. This bomb can achieve what's known as a circular error probable, or CEP, of less than 3 meters.
Okay, for those of us who don't spend our time reading defense white papers.
Mm-hmm.
What does a CEP of less than 3 meters actually mean on the ground?
It means you can reliably deliver that 500-pound package of destruction inside a 10-foot circle. It's that precise.
Wow.
So in the context of this Palmyra strike, the goal wasn't to level the entire mountain. It was tactical denial. They had to hit individual tunnel access points, cave entrances to cause an immediate collapse.
So you're sealing the complex, not destroying it.
Exactly. You seal it up, denying ISIS access to all the weapons and explosives they have stored inside. You have to be that surgically precise to make sure the surrounding area is completely untouched.
That pinpoint accuracy is what lets them confirm zero civilian risk. But these ops, they often happen at night or in bad weather or in places where the enemy might actually be trying to disrupt the guidance systems.
Right.
So how does the Paveway III keep that perfect trajectory?
That's the genius of the dual-mode guidance system. It's what guarantees you can operate 24/7 in all weather conditions. The primary system, that relies on what's called semi-active laser guidance.
Okay.
So an airborne designator, it could be from the Typhoon jet itself or maybe a supporting drone, it paints the target with a coded laser beam. The bomb then literally just homes in on that reflected light, that sparkle.
Like it's tracking a tiny moving spotlight on the ground.
That's a perfect way to put it. But, and this is the key part, if that laser signal gets obscured by, say, dust or fire or bad weather.
Or if the enemy is using electronic countermeasures to try and jam it.
Precisely. If any of that happens, the bomb instantly shifts to its backup. And that's a highly sophisticated GPS and inertial navigation system, the INS.
The INS is basically the bomb's own internal mapping clock, isn't it?
It is. It lets the bomb navigate using pre-programmed coordinates, even if it loses all external signals. And crucially, that system is hardened. It's got advanced anti-jamming and anti-spoofing tech built right in.
So the mission succeeds no matter what.
At the end of the day, yes. The sheer sophistication of these Western defense assets ensures it. The execution was, by all accounts, flawless. The Typhoons, supported by a Voyager refueling tanker, they dropped multiple bombs. Intel suggests somewhere between 6 and 8.
And successfully collapsed the entrances.
They did, neutering a major logistics hub for ISIS. The hammer struck true.
So the technology delivered that surgical strike. But the real story here is why the UK and France felt they basically had only hours to act. That level of precision targeting was reactive. It was response to what has been a truly alarming and violent surge in the threat level.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you really have to understand the sheer scale of ISIS's resurgence in central Syria. This group has, well, it's fundamentally changed its posture from just hiding and surviving to actively, aggressively attacking.
And the shift between 2022 and 2023 is where you really see it. It's stark.
It's deeply worrying.
And this is where the data becomes, frankly, shocking. So 2022, that was considered a low point for the group. But 2023 saw this seismic shift. ISIS conducted at least 215 attacks in 2023.
Which is a 168% increase over the year before.
168%. But the raw number of attacks, as alarming as it is, isn't even the whole story.
No, the leap in lethality is what's truly staggering. The group became dramatically more effective, more brutal. Military deaths jumped by 195%, with over 285 soldiers killed.
But the most devastating statistic, the one that I think really changed the calculus for Western intervention, has to be the civilian toll.
Oh, absolutely. Civilian deaths surged by a staggering 745% in a single year. We're talking about 231 innocent people killed by the group in 2023 alone.
745%. I mean, that's not a slight rise in activity. That's an explosion. It confirms a new, aggressive operational goal.
It's aimed at maximum destabilization and terror. It is no longer about just, gathering resources or simple harassment.
So what does that aggressive posture actually look like on the ground?
It looks like a group that is no longer cautious or risk-averse. They've moved way beyond just planting IEDs or simple roadside harassment. ISIS is now confident enough to fight what you'd call pitched battles, actively holding ground for days at a time.
Where are we seeing this?
We've seen it near places like Al-Qam and Wadi Dubayat. They're readopting these bold tactics, setting up fake checkpoints to extort people and conducting these coordinated highway ambushes that cut key supply and security lines.
And if they're holding ground like that, it suggests a pretty significant failure in the counterterrorism pressure from local forces.
It does.
But the threat also seems to have moved beyond just these remote desert areas.
Absolutely. The insurgency isn't contained to the deep desert anymore. And in a really clear sign of their strategic confidence, ISIS resumed IED attacks inside major government-held cities.
Inside the cities.
Yes. Intelligence confirmed at least 6 IED attacks in Damascus and Homs in 2023. And these weren't random targets. They specifically hit police stations and military transports. It signals a brazen ability to penetrate and strike urban centers that were previously thought to be secure.
And the long-term outlook seems just as grim, especially when you look at the intelligence on their recruitment.
That's right. The organization is actively ensuring its own long-term survival. They're integrating a new generation of recruits. They're exploiting these crippling economic crises that are plaguing the region to bring children and teenagers into their active fighting cells.
So they're creating a deep pool of manpower.
A deep pool of desperate manpower ready to be deployed. This demographic shift is what makes their ideology self-sustaining rather than just some aging contained force.
So the scale of the violence is enormous. The method of attack is evolving, which brings us to this enduring challenge of dealing with what is now, a flexible network, not a territory-holding army.
And what's so fascinating here is that the sophisticated nature of this strike, the fact that they use these precision weapons on tunnels, it confirms that ISIS has shifted to a highly advanced subterranean infrastructure.
These aren't just hiding spots.
No, not at all. These are sophisticated logistical networks. They allow ISIS to maintain weapon storage, communication lines, and operational continuity in these remote areas, all while avoiding conventional aerial detection.
And this reliance on hidden infrastructure is then compounded by what sounds like a profound betrayal on the ground.
Yes. By late 2025, early 2026, intelligence suggests ISIS tactics shockingly evolved to include successful insider attacks.
And that December 2025 incident near Palmyra is a key example, right?
It's the perfect case study. An ISIS operative successfully infiltrated Syrian internal security forces and used that position, that trust, to ambush a joint patrol. He killed 2 U.S. soldiers and a civilian partner.
That signals a massive intelligence breach. It raises serious questions about the vetting and the reliability of the very partners the coalition relies on.
Precisely. I mean, this type of infiltration undermines everything. When the partners you depend on to hold the line are compromised from the inside, traditional air support and logistical aid, it becomes a security dilemma.
Because you can't trust the local forces.
You can't trust them to protect the territory, and this terrorist organization is actively and very skillfully exploiting that exact vulnerability.
You've described this shift before as ISIS moving from a localized virus to a drug-resistant infection. That analogy feels incredibly apt right now.
It is. Because the organization attacks vital targets like those urban IEDs, the insider attacks, and at the same time it creates these deep, hard-to-reach reservoirs, the underground tunnels.
Which lets them flare up violently whenever the pressure weakens.
Exactly, and military experts are pretty much unified in their warning here. Precision airstrikes, while they are tactically decisive and they do temporarily deny ISIS the use of a specific weapons cache, they only provide temporary setbacks. They buy you time.
And a temporary setback for a flexible network just means they reorganize in the nearest security vacuum.
That's it. The only way to deny ISIS the space to reorganize, to recruit that new generation, and rebuild those subterranean logistics is through sustained, robust intelligence and consistent field efforts.
Which means a permanent, fully funded strategy, not just periodic strikes.
Right. Not just putting out fires.
Okay, so let's circle back and try to summarize the main points for everyone listening. At the end of the day, what does all of this mean?
Well, the joint Anglo-French bombing with the Paveway IV was a textbook display of Western resolve and technological precision. It successfully targeted that sophisticated ISIS infrastructure, the tunnels in direct response to this dramatic, aggressive surge in attacks.
And that surge includes that terrifying 745% increase in civilian deaths in 2023. It really confirms that this decisive use of targeted military power is crucial to take out these high-value targets before the threat can metastasize even further.
But the core challenge here, it remains the evolution of the threat itself. ISIS isn't just using these highly effective underground logistics to avoid being seen. It is also strategically exploiting local security flaws through these sophisticated insider attacks.
Attacks that compromise our partners on the ground.
Yes.
So, given that ISIS is bringing in a new generation of recruits, ensuring they have manpower for the long term, and using these advanced underground facilities to hide in plain sight, I think this raises a really important question we should all be considering. Can the West afford to treat this global threat with anything less than a permanent, fully funded defense strategy? Or will these temporary, though very precise strikes just buy time for the next, even more aggressive resurgence to erupt?
The cost of containing this threat is high, there's no question about it. But the cost of ignoring its aggressive evolution is, as we've seen, clearly catastrophic.